16 years old, I think I was, when I moved to Miami. And got a job, bought me some bongos, and started working on my being a professional at some point in time, you know what I'm saying? And as far as being taken serious, when I started, I used to work for Capone, the gangster, his son, Sonny Capone. They had a restaurant called the Grotto on Miami Beach. And all the big gangsters used to come in there. I mean, all of them, Joe Bananas, all the top killers. Yeah, because they ate the best. And when they came to Miami, the Grotto was their restaurant. And they had the finest fucking cook on the planet. Believe me, man, this restaurant was something else. Anyway, Teddy Traynor, Sonny Capone's partner, bought me this big old Haitian conga drum. He called me up one day and said, "Hey, Danny," just like that, this is how he talked. "You coming early? I got something for you." And he had a rocker and he started banging it on the phone, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking he bought me some chickadees or something, you know? So I went in an hour earlier, and to my surprise, man, he had this big, beautiful Haitian conga drum, the one with the pegs, and it was painted chartreuse green with black spots all over it. You know what I'm saying? And it had a beautiful sound, and I was happy he gave me that drum. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to always tell them that I could play. They had never heard me play. I sat down and put them away. You understand? Anyway, that was one of my first drums. One day I decided I'm ready. And I always wanted to play with Dizzy, you know? And that was my thought from that point on. Dizzy, here I come, in my mind. You know what I'm saying? And finally that day when I decided to go to New York, who do I run into but Blue Mitchell? You understand? And he says to me, "Black, you going to New York? You want to play with Diz? Well, I'm going to help you out. When you see Diz, you just tell him Blue sent you. And I guarantee you're going to get the gig." Well, when I first met Dizzy, I didn't get the gig. So I took the night off from my gig and went to Birdland. And you walk in, you walk down a half a flight of steps, and the ticket booth is there, another flight, and you're in the club, below ground down there. And just lucky for me, as I walk in, Dizzy is standing there by the ticket booth talking to some cat. So when he got through talking with this guy, I turned to him and I said, "Mr. Gillespie?" And he turned and he looked at me. He ain't smiling either. He don't know who I am. And he's a paranoid motherfucker, Dizzy, you know? And I had my hand up for a handshake. I said, "Mr. Gillespie, I'm a friend of Blue Mitchell." And he sent his greetings to you. But he also said that if you knew that I knew him, you would give me a gig. Dizzy looked at me, looked at my hand, and left me standing there. 3 months later, Paul Robeson had just left Russia, came back to America, and he was sick. And they were giving a big benefit to raise money for Paul Robeson, right? By this time, I was playing with Randy Weston, off and on, because I had my little old club uptown in Harlem. And I had met all of the cats by this time. And Randy was scheduled to be a part of the benefit for Paul Robeson. But he was suffering from bursitis. His wrist had swollen up and he couldn't play. So he said, "Black, why don't you go down there, and when they call me up, you just go up and make apologies for me," you know what I'm saying? Beautiful. Yeah, man. And we had just done that Night of the Cookers album, You dig it? At the La Michelle in Brooklyn. And me and Harold, my buddy, the flute player out of Chicago, we were planning a gig for the same club. And we had our flyers, and I was in the Americana passing out my flyers for my gig. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting for the people to call Randy. They never did call Randy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing out there in the hall passing out my flyers, and who walks up? Dizzy. Snatch one of my flyers out of my hand and look at it and says, "Big Black, I heard about you." Like he ain't never seen me in his life. He probably don't even remember that night at Birdland. "You want to play with me?" That's how it happens, man. Big Black. You know, when I became Big Black, my brother and his partner, I had left Miami and went to the islands. That's when I met Ginger. I was suffering from a nervous breakdown. And the doctor told me, he says, if you want to get well, exercise, proper diet, and a change of fucking scenery. So I went to the islands. You know what I'm saying? Billy Cook, trumpet player out of Jamaica, he was the band I was playing with. And he gave me this solo. I used to do all the clubs in the islands had a drummer that had the solo. That was the highlight. And I did the solo, and them two cats fell off their fucking chairs. I played so much shit on them. And my brother Fish got up off the floor and says, "You big black bad motherfucker." That was the birth of the name Big Black. "You big black bad motherfucker." That's what he said. And from that night on, everybody started calling me Big Black. Miles walks in to the dressing room with his bad white chick on his arm. I mean, she was laid in furs and shit, because in the winter time, you know, and he was clean, Miles. I mean, he looked like $1 million fucking dollars. And Dizzy says, "Oh, Miles, I'm so glad to see you," you know, shaking hands, kissing the pretty little white lady, you understand? He says, "Miles, I'd like you to meet my new discovery, Big Black." He walked around the goddamn room when Dizzy said that there. Walked all the way around the room and wound up standing in front of me looking up at me like this, because he's a little short dude, right? He says, "You know, a cat once called me a black motherfucker." You know what I said? I said, "So what?" He didn't want to insult me by saying, "So what?" directly, but indirectly, he insulted the fuck out of me. Anyway, but I took it as a laughing matter because it was funny. You know, it was funny, it was avant-garde, and it was pure bebop. Still a little bit left.